A Glorious Piece of Chocolate Cake by Leticia Toraci. Fatima was at the same time a housewife and a higher dimensional entity. She sat in the passenger seat while her husband drove. The radio was playing a pop song as she looked outside at the usual landscape when she was mind-called. "They have surrounded the planet!" Zarkov, the commander of the Planetary Systems Alliance fleet, told her. Fatima closed her eyes. Soul traveling was possible with open eyes, which in school had made others think she was quite deranged, but a battle was something for which she would need her whole concentration. She floated out of her body, out of the car, and out of Earth to the vacuum of space. To be bodiless was not an unpleasant sensation at all. It was quite liberating. "I'm here, Commander," she thought. In fact, she had caused waves on the vibrational plane all around her just by being in the higher dimension. So announcing her presence was unnecessary, but it was difficult to let human habits go. Her out-of-body state allowed her to see 360 degrees in all directions. So she immediately realized the situation. A large armada of faster-than-light battleships and a hollowed-out asteroid ship as big as the moon approached the Earth. So many ships would have enough reptilian soldiers to kill all humans on the planet. But they were not the major problem. No, the prime enemy was their leader, a huge, higher-dimensional humanoid dragon. Pissed off enough to leave its nest inside the asteroid and run towards her through the vacuum of space, moving much faster than his armada. The PSA soldiers called these beings destroyers because they could destroy an entire fleet with their raging higher dimensional energy. The dragon came towards her with red, fierce eyes, prepared to destroy. Uncountable ships around the planet had become engaged in a colossal battle. Some ships of the people on Earth's side flew away, avoiding the enemy's blasts only thanks to their piloting art, while others held their ground, but the destroyer dragon would eventually tip the scales because it was a lion in a field full of much smaller wild cats. The defenders of Earth had their claws, but in a battle, size mattered. Fatima flew on towards the destroyer. Meanwhile, the dragon broke its run, not expecting its prey to move towards it. She shouted, "You are invading my planet! I will die, but so be it," she thought, until she heard something inside telling her she would not die today. The spirit of the universe felt like an infinite golden sea, full of love and wisdom, where all beings who still had a soul lived. Her connection was still there, even if in her life as a human, she had forgotten it existed. Her spirit was one tiny tendril of the universe, like a thin paintbrush in the hands of an infinitely gifted artist. Fatima was still herself, but also one of the universe's tools, in the right place to save the planet. A long time ago, in one of her cosmic lives, she had also been a humanoid dragon, like her enemy, and she could be a humanoid destroyer dragon again if the universe so desired. The gigantic destroyer dragon noticed what happened. "I'm sorry," it said, then lowered its head fearfully. "Let's be friends, shall we?" It extended one hand full of claws and a business card towards her. "I see that you are powerful too. We don't have to fight now." But Fatima saw beyond its deceptions. The dragon was nothing but a bully. It attacked only when victory seemed certain, when it saw a rich planet like Earth without enough technology to defend itself. It was only pretending to be friendly to gain time and come back later, with a bigger fleet. She felt not only her own anger at the deception, but also something much beyond her. The wrath of thousands of beings enslaved and killed by the Empire, to which the humanoid dragon belonged. Fatima closed her clawed fists.
Coward! You didn't want to be friends when you saw only a woman floating in space. But you won't fight one of your own. Stand up and face me with honor or die!
The dragon lowered its head again. This fake display of humbleness further enraged the being Fatima had turned into.
Coward!
She roared, extending her right arm and opening her fists.
Die!
The humanoid dragon exploded into 1,000 particles. When its still numerous fleet saw what had happened, they withdrew in panic and disarray. But Fatima did not go after them. She preferred enemies who would, for decades to come, tell hushed stories of the higher dimensional dragon who defended Earth. Besides, the power of the universe was for defense only. Her higher dimensional body turned back to its fragile and humble human form while she sighed and left the battlefield. Back to Earth, back to her passenger's seat. She stretched, then looked at her husband and smiled.
What are you looking at?
Fatima's husband asked, frowning at yet another weird thing his wife did.
Could you at least try to behave normally?
Okay, she said. You know, I think I deserve a glorious piece of chocolate cake.
Her husband snorted and shook his head. Now where did that come from?